Here are my top 10 New York Giants players heading into 2023. Before we do get into it, leave a like, comment down below your opinion. Who is your number one player on the New York Giants? What is your top 10 looking like? Let me know down below in the comment section and let's talk about it. But yeah, also hit the subscribe button and join the channel, man. This is where you want to be for everything Giants. So if you love Giants content, this is the place to be. But we're going to start off with number one. We're going to start with the best player, who I think is the number one guy on the New York Giants roster. That is left tackle Andrew Thomas. If you saw the thumbnail, you knew where I was going with this. And I just think Andrew Thomas is the best left tackle in football. I really do. And easily Trent Williams, I understand. You know, Trent Williams is a freaking stalwart. He's an amazing player, consistently putting up great seasons for the 49ers. But when I'm looking at the guy that is going to be, you know, for the next decade, the best left tackle in football, the best tackle in football, I'm looking at Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas has been a stud player for the New York Giants over the past 2 seasons. He's coming off of back-to-back elite seasons, in my opinion, which is why I have him ranked as the number one guy. He's playing at the left tackle position. It's one of the most important positions in all of football. And I am grateful and happy that we have a guy like Andrew Thomas lining up at left tackle for us. He's a stud. Can't wait for the Giants to extend him on that huge contract he's going to end up getting. Much deserved. So our number one player for the New York Giants heading into 2023 is all-pro left tackle Andrew Thomas. Number 2 is another one that was an all-pro last year. Had a breakout season, in my opinion, basically. And, you know, was newly extended by the New York Giants. And that is defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. He's my defensive MVP of last year. And he is the best player on the Giants defense, in my opinion, based off my rankings. And I'm looking at how dominant he is in the run game and definitely in the passing game. He's a guy that is consistently getting pressure on the quarterback. If you look at what he did in that wild card game versus Minnesota on that last drive, man, he won the drive by himself on the game-winning play with, you know, Xavier McKinney tackled T.J. Hawkinson. Dexter Lawrence made Kirk Cousins throw that ball way earlier than he wanted to. So Dexter Lawrence is a stud. He was a defensive MVP for 2022 for me for the New York Giants. And I have him ranked as my second best player on the New York Giants heading into 2023. But number 3 is a guy that I hope the Giants end up getting a long-term extension done with. It's the running back. It's Saquon freaking Barkley, man. And I understand that some people have their different opinions on Saquon Barkley, on if the Giants should bring him back on a long-term deal. Well, I got him rated as my number 3 player on the New York Giants team. I think he's arguably the best player on the New York Giants. It's really arguably that Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas, and Saquon are the best players on this team as a number 1 guy. Saquon Barkley is a stud, man. I don't know what your opinion is or how you feel about extending Saquon Barkley in the long run, but he was one of the best players on this team last year. He was the offense last year for the New York Giants. And when I'm looking at, you know, just the NFL in general, Saquon Barkley is one of the best players in the NFL, period. He's a stud. Had an amazing year last year, and the Giants need Saquon Barkley. They need him because he's just that good of a player. He changes the way the Giants run the ball. He changes the way that teams look at the Giants offense, and he's just one of the best players, not just on the Giants, but in the league. He's one of the best running backs in the league. So, number 3, I got my guy Saquon Barkley, my favorite player in the NFL. Hopefully, the Giants get a long-term extension done with him soon. We'll see. Reports saying that it doesn't look like that will happen, but hopefully it does get done, you know, before training camp, before July 15th, before the season starts. But number four, and I think this is a luxury. I love this right here. Daniel Jones is the 4th best player on the New York Giants roster heading into 2023. Now, after 2023, I think he might be the best. After 2023, I am expecting Daniel Jones to be number 2 or number 1 on the New York Giants roster as the best player. But it's a luxury where you have a great quarterback in Daniel Jones. You have a good quarterback in Daniel Jones, but he's not the number 1 guy. The Giants have other players ahead of Daniel Jones, who's a good quarterback, but he's the 4th best player on the roster. That is a luxury, that you have other guys outside of the quarterback position that are great. And Daniel Jones, man, listen, I know the stats last year, again, didn't, you know, come off the page as a franchise quarterback. But when you watch how they played that offense, Daniel Jones was great, man. He was great. And that was with subpar weapons. That was with a bad offensive line. Heading into 2023, I think after 2023, he could be the best player on the New York Giants roster. And I'm expecting the media and people outside of the Giants fandom to put more respect on Daniel Jones while right now he's getting a lot of hate still after his 2022 season. But after 2023, Daniel Jones is going to be probably the best player on the New York Giants. That is my bold prediction, early bold prediction for Daniel Jones and the Giants this season. But number 5, capping off our top 5 New York Giants players, it is the newly acquired tight end Darren Waller. Listen, I know, PFF came out and said he's not even a top 10 tight end in the league. I couldn't disagree more. I could not disagree more. Darren Waller is a guy that can beat you in all ranges of the field. He is an explosive player at that position. 6'6", 240 pounds, but can run routes and got the speed of a wide receiver. That is insane, and he is going to show why, the Giants made the trade for him. He's really going to help Daniel Jones take that, that next step, after his good season 2022. He's going to be a vital reason, if he can stay healthy, of why he is going to take that next step. Darren Waller right now is the number 1 Giants player. We're looking at weapons that Daniel Jones throws the ball to, and hopefully maybe DeAndre Hopkins gets into that. But as of right now, Darren Waller is a top 5 player on the New York Giants already. Stud tight end, elite in my opinion, one of the best tight ends in the game. At number 5, I got the Giants with Darren Waller as the 5th best player on the roster. But number 6 is a guy on defense that I think is one of the most underrated players in the NFL, and that is cornerback Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson does not get enough praise for what he did in that wildcard game versus Justin Jefferson. He doesn't. When, the Eagles faced the Vikings on Monday Night Football back in the season and Darius Slay shut down Justin Jefferson, that's all you could hear. All you saw was the stats that, Justin Jefferson had up against Darius Slay, how he got locked down. But when Adoree Jackson did that in a playoff game, you didn't hear it as much. Of course, Giants fans brought it up because we're Giants fans. We're going to show our love to our players. But outside of Giants fans, nobody really gave Adoree Jackson credit for shutting down the best wide receiver in all of football. He is a Giants cornerback 1, and if you're looking at how the roster is built, last year definitely, he was the most important Giants player on the defense because they could not afford to lose Adoree Jackson. They couldn't. And he showed last year that he can be that CB1. That was a question heading into 2022. He showed that, yes, I can be the CB1 of your defense. And I hope, again, that he ends up getting a long-term extension with the New York Giants because I just think he is that good of a player. I think he's underrated. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. So number 6 on my New York Giants top 10 ranking, I have Adoree Jackson. But number 7, now I could have went multiple ways here. It's another defensive player. I got Xavier McKinney, and I'm looking at what Xavier McKinney did in 2021. 2022, we know what happened. The injury happened. The hand injury happened. We ain't got to get into all that. But I'm looking at what he did in 2021, and that is a top 5 player. If we can get that Xavier McKinney on the Giants in 2023, alongside with the newly improved, defensive line, the addition they made on the defensive line, they got a linebacker there. The Giants' defense is going to be a problem for teams. It's going to be a problem because Xavier McKinney can be a game-changing safety. I've seen it. He's a guy that can make big plays at any time of the game. 5, 6 interceptions back in 2021. I think we're going to see more of that this season. I really do. I think Wink's going to be more aggressive. He's going to use Xavier McKinney in multiple ways because he has other players now on the defense. So I just cannot wait to see how Xavier McKinney looks, coming off of that hand injury in 2022. Still something he's trying to get used to playing with. And I really do think Xavier McKinney is going to really show back into that 2021 frame of work where he was making plays constantly for the Giants defense. But number 8, again, I could have went multiple ways here. I'm looking at the strength of this Giants team. And if you watch my Giants defensive grades for positions, go check that video out if you haven't. I had the Giants defensive line graded at an A. And I'm backing it up here because my 8th player is Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams to me is a guy that I love as the second, duo guy next to Dexter Lawrence. If he can be on the field and he can be healthy, we're getting a guy here that can get you 6.5 sacks as your second best defensive tackle. We've seen him get 11 sacks as the premier defensive tackle. But him lined up next to Dexter Lawrence, those two guys are going to be a juggernaut for the Giants defensive line. And that's why I had it graded so highly, for position. I had it graded as an A plus. Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence is helping that grade out. Leonard Williams, I know he's on the $32 million cap hit, but I think this is the year, if he can stay healthy, that he's going to show why, you know, he was on long-term extension with the team, why he is one of the guys that is pairing up with one of the best defensive tackles in football in Dexter Lawrence. So I think Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams are one of the best interior defensive line groups in the league. That is why I got him ranked at number 8. But number 9 is a guy that I think is going to take off this year. I think, again, it comes down to health. I've been preaching his name all off season. I'm going to continue to do so until the season. It is Azeez Ojulari. Listen, man, I said it multiple times. Azeez Ojulari is going to lead the Giants in sacks this season. Another bold prediction if you want to call it one. I just think he's effective when he's on the field. When he is on the field, he's a guy that's getting back there. He's a guy that is disrupting offenses. He's a guy that is making sacks and getting big plays. And it's really coming down to injuries. It's coming down, can you be on the field for us? And if he can, you're looking at what Kayvon Thibodeaux is looking like in his second year, look like he's going to take that next step. Azeez Ojulari is going to be a guy that's going to be able to make havoc, make plays constantly. So, again, Azeez Ojulari might even be higher after the season if he can be on the field. Can't get much, you know, higher on the list when you're not on the field as much. But when he's on the field, he's playing. You saw what he did last year. So hopefully we get a much better snap count, more plays, and more time of watching Azeez Ojulari play football because he is a beast when he is on the field. Now, number 10, to cap off our top 10 New York Giants players, I got the 5th overall draft pick from the 2022 NFL Draft. I have Kayvon Thibodeaux. Listen, man, he won the Giants games last year. You know, you had the game-sealing play versus Baltimore where he strip-sacked Lamar Jackson in the 4th quarter to end the game off. You're looking at the performance he had versus Washington in the game of the year for the New York Giants during the regular season. That was a game where we're looking at Kayvon, we're saying, hey, this guy can really be a force for us. He really can. And this year, I'm looking at him. Martindale came out and said that there is no ceiling for Kayvon. There is no potential for Kayvon. He can be one of the best players on this team. And right now, I got him ranked as number 10. But after the season, I think Kayvon's going to be a beast this year. Could be ranked even higher. Could probably make his way into the top 5. Who knows? But that is my top 10 rankings for the New York Giants players heading into 2023. Let me know down below in the comment section who is your best player for the New York Giants and what is your top 10 list looking like heading into 2023. Honorable mention could have been Graham Gano. Graham Gano's elite. He's an elite kicker. I wasn't even going to put him up here. Wait, it's Graham Gano. He's freaking elite, right? Bobby Okereke. I know some people love Bobby Okereke. I love Bobby Okereke. But I think he just got snubbed a little bit outside of the top 10. But again, like I said, let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts. And if you enjoyed, leave a like and hit the subscribe button and join the channel. This is where you want to be for all Giants content. We're going to be covering it all off season heading into 2023. So that's really it. Like I said, if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down, hit the subscribe button, join the channel. But until then, it's been your boy Jay Dimes, and we are out. Thanks for watching. And go Giants. Peace.